But you started it.
Yeah.
For me, I was telling the boss the other day, none of this would be happening if he wouldn't have said, okay, let's try it. Because I could have been anywhere else and would have said, can we try this? And I would have gotten shut down. But I think for me, like in terms of tea, the pet peeve was, it was super grainy. The audio. And I kept on trying to figure out if I could uncompress the files that were streaming online to make it better. Long story short, this is so much better. And I think we've been doing it how many years already?
7?
Oh man, how long has it been?
Probably.
I think like 7.
It's been a few, yeah.
After I did the website thing, shortly after we launched the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
It's like 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Because we kind of turned Chiefs around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. We still get feedback from like community members. Grayson actually has helped us with facilitating the men's group as well,
That's wonderful.
growing it as well. So we're still we're doing hybrid. So we're in person sometimes, like at the park. You started going to
Spirit Family
Spirit.
Whittier, like in
Yeah.
person.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have other now programs that they meet in person, and they'll remotely join as well.
Oh,
It's
that's
almost like
dope.
Yeah.
It's almost like branches of
Yeah.
of our men's
Yeah.
support group.
Yeah.
So it's the same meeting, but we are hybrid everywhere. So we all connect via Microsoft Teams, but we all have little pockets of people with us.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that.
Extensions of, yeah.
And the other day, that's what I was sharing with you. They had a gentleman, they just met that day, show up to the men's group, and he completely shared, right?
Yeah,
He just
it was good.
he spoke about all his stuff, and it was interesting. It was great. I got to see how, like, that really helps people out. So I think that was
Don't you think people need that though?
I think so.
Yeah.
I tell my wife,
A safe space, just to.
and not just to say this is a safe space, but to really feel like welcome to the point where he talked about a lot of his health issues,
Yeah.
and he talked about how he's going through depression, and he just opened up. And you guys did an amazing job.
It was perfect because he was an older gentleman,
Mhm.
and we have somebody that's older also, and they were both able to say, I can relate to that, to each other.
Yes.
So
I think it
was-
just
was
goes
really
back-
cool.
I think it also just goes back to like meeting them where they're at. And it's like a great moment, and then you say, you have this, and then they go.
Yeah, we've experienced participants come out to the group, which we were also like, let's see how everybody's going to respond, and they were embracing and
Yeah.
welcoming. Because like Grayson was saying, we have some older gentlemen who they've made comments before and are kind of stuck in their ways, but they were just completely welcoming. And I was mentioning to Theion earlier, we had our SALT meeting on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Then we had the CHP officer. And one of the things, like when we were talking about the men's group and stuff, he was like, can anybody be a part of it?
Yeah.
So like, and we were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny to me. I was speaking with Yvonne, with our co-chair, about this. She tells me, isn't it weird how there's all these resources, but sometimes it feels like the community doesn't know. And I tell her that's always been a thing.
That's the truth.
As far back as I've been working, not just for the department, but previously, I used to manage a call center where our job was to connect people to services or to basically provide them with resources. And it was always funny to me to see, no matter how much work you put in sharing the information, there's always someone who never knew that existed.
Exactly.
And it's a trip. It's a trip, but I think, at least in 7, we've done a lot. Like, oh my goodness, all the providers that follow us and share on social media now, I think that's amazing.
Well, we hear from board offices now who reach out and they're like, hey, I saw this invite. Why aren't you guys doing this in our region? Or, and it's just kind of like, well, where'd you get the invite? It's like, oh, it came up on, I think, my Instagram or something. And it's like, yeah, and it's, how many followers are we up to now?
859. I just looked right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I stopped following people at 200 and something. I told my wife, they're either gonna follow us or they're not. They're gonna see what we're doing. And so, sure enough, I remember initially when we started, I thought, I'm gonna organize a meeting, invite providers, or at least their person who's doing me, my role, and have them say, hey, let's do a new collaborative. It'll be a social media to encourage them, right? It didn't really take off. But then little by little, different providers, I think I told Manny, I noticed that if I do a certain creative trailer or I put together some type of piece, they will then mimic that and share the same thing. And I'm like, this is so cool because now they're finally sharing their resources. And that's always been my mentality behind it, putting resources out there and getting the word out about what we're doing. But to see it all come together,
It's a beautiful thing.
It's
It is.
awesome.
It is a beautiful thing, and just the fact that you are what you said about no matter how many resources, there's always somebody. I mean, I remember doing an event in Service Area 1, and a monolingual Spanish person came up to me, and I speak enough Spanish where I actually understood it, and she kept saying, "Is this for me? Can I go?" And I was like, "Absolutely," and I thought all the back and forth of wing dangling the money to do it and everything, I thought this was worth it. If this one woman figured out, yeah, you could get services. You can. This is available to you. And so many people in our communities are clueless. They just don't know. And it's not like when you sign up for a health plan, they tell you all this. Yeah, it's right there in the small print, but who's gonna read a booklet?
Yeah.
You know,
There
who's
you go.
gonna read it? I need to know. I'm having trouble today. Can I go? And is there some place I can go for help? In Service Area 1, this was 8 years ago. We started the village to just help mothers with and perinatal mental illness. And we had people from Kaiser, we had people from all types of private insurance show up because there was nothing like that. And they needed a space where they could just be safe and talk about, I'm really depressed.
Yeah.
Like I had this baby, but like I'm struggling.
And what you said, I used to tell the chief this all the time. A lot of the times when I would think of something, it would be like with my mom and thought. So my mom learned English to get her citizenship, but it wasn't so great. So like my mom struggled a lot, even with her iPhone, right? It's like grandma only knew how to call me and my sister. That's all she knew. And it's funny because you think about how many people at different stages in their life, not just grandmas, but even younger adults who struggle to find resources. And like for me, I think that's been my passion and like driving this and really moving it forward. I think I shared this with you in the past. I told Manny, I never wanted to be on camera or talking. I just wanted to edit. I enjoy editing. It's fun for me. I love coding. It's fun for me. That's what I wanted to do, right? But after all this time, now you got me talking.
Well,
Yes.
but even if you remember during the pandemic, one of the things that we realized in, surveying our community was that seniors were being isolated.
Yeah,
They were a large
absolutely.
part, right? But having you go out and even remember the tech talks, going out there and having them be able to set up teams, how to be able to do it on their phones,
Yeah.
so that they could access our groups, our supports, and
And having the patience
Mhm.
to do it because they're scared to ask their children, "Oh, okay, mom, just let me have it. Let me do it." No, they need to know how to do it. My mother has a newer phone than I do, and she will call my son and say, "Okay, I got a new phone."
What do I do?
Like a granny, I'm on my way, and he takes her step by step, to how to utilize it. She does things on her phone that I don't know how to do. She does, but it's just not only that you did the TED Talks, but you took the time. You made space for it.
Well, I see it with my in-laws. I share it with Manny all the time. They're older. They're basically, due to different health conditions, they're stuck at home. So if we don't go help them, they're kind of lost, right? I remember one of the gentlemen reminds me of my father-in-law at the tech group. His whole thing was like, hey, I'm planning to go to Mexico. How do I book my tickets on my phone? So in my head, Theion, when I first thought of TED Talk was like, I can show them like basics to coding. I can show them how easy it is to build a website now. You don't need all these things, right? But no, their focus was like, I just want to learn, should I answer all these calls? Because I
Yeah.
get all these calls. No, don't.
Don't.
Don't answer the calls.
Yeah.
And I would tell them, if you don't have that number listed on your phone, more than likely it's a spam call, right? And they would say, but what if it's my cousin from, I don't know, and I'm like, why would that person call? If you don't, so just those little things,
Yeah.
teaching them that.
It's a life skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also
It
an
is.
opportunity for
100%.
connection.
And that's mental
Yeah.
health.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotions to it too. Because remember, you were helping someone like how to even like do FaceTime to see someone, and that's priceless because it was his first grandson. So it's
Wow.
kind of like priceless to do something like that because you taught him because he couldn't go right because of COVID. Yeah.
And I think it was the other day I shared with Erica too. I was cleaning out one of my hard drives and I found a picture of when I first started the tech group. And I remember there was a older gentleman there who still attends the groups. And his whole thing was, is it okay for me to go on YouTube? Like he wanted to know what websites were safe. I'm sure he was
Yeah.
seeing somewhere that, they could get viruses. And I remember telling him, it's very rare to get a virus nowadays. I mean, it's like, at least, when I was doing things, it's like, unless you're a financial institution or somewhere who has a huge database, no one's going to target you. There are people who prey on people like that, but it's very rare, right? But definitely don't click on any mysterious link. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, But it's come a long way. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's
But
really cool.
you back there saying it's a life skill.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true. We wouldn't have thought that,
That's true.
10, 15 years ago. But it really is a life skill to know how to work the goddamn phone.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Who would know? But yeah. And that's why you see these little kids. They know how to do all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to be 48, Theion. I grew up in a household where we didn't get a computer till my brother bought a computer. And the computer, all it could do was run a flight simulation thing that he had uploaded on there, really old computer.
Mhm.
And we grew up kind of between, the internet coming up or having access, things like
Mhm.
that. So definitely
Exactly.
the world's changed. But I'll tell you what I tell this guy all the time. We wouldn't be able to do that without like your support or even Manny's support. He was willing to take a chance on these ideas. I'd get these ideas and I'd say, hey, Chief, what do you think about doing this? He'd go, I don't know, man. Hold on. Let me think about it.
Hold on, let me check with Theion
Yeah.
first.
So, super grateful.
Super
Yeah.
grateful, man. I'm so grateful. I was telling Manny, I've been meeting with my chiefs because I'm about to go out on leave to get my knee done, and just taking the time just to sit and talk with them. And my desire was just really to pour into them and tell them how grateful I am for what they've brought to OCS and what they do in the service areas for the communities. And I cannot express my gratitude. I really can't. When I thought last year, start thinking about, okay, I'm going to retire next year, it was really pretty dry, like, okay, it's enough. I've done enough. But the last 2 to 3 weeks, just meeting with them individually has made me feel very verklempt. I've fought back tears every time I've met with them because I really do feel like these are my younger siblings. These are my brothers and sisters, and I've been really grateful to have had this opportunity. This was not something I asked for. I didn't ask to be senior. I really didn't. And but how grateful I am that God opened up this door and allowed me to be in it. I am very much the person that's not going to run from anything. Let's kick the door down. Let's just try. And we've developed this whole community of people that the thought is, let's take care of people.
Yeah.
By any means necessary. And even this podcast that you are getting out to the community, that people know that this is available in your community, these kind of services, that there's somebody out here willing to listen to you. Like you said, this man just showed up and he kind of just, how hungry was he that he needed a space just, to walk in.
Absolutely.
And, I know in the middle of pandemic, most churches shut down, so they all went online. And I can tell you at my own church, which is a pretty multicultural church, the Sunday that we all got to go back to church, you saw so many people touch people
Yeah.
because they had been so isolated. And I think that's what's something so beautiful about our department and this OCS division is that we have been able to link and touch each other in ways to help each other that wouldn't have happened 2 decades ago, even really a decade ago. You know, you kind of worked in your own little silo, and this is my business, and that's it. And it's not like that anymore. Even, you know, the director sending us all through arty training to start thinking and having real conversations about race and the things that divide us and looking at it and seeing, but there's so much more that unites us. You know, I tell people often, I'm the unicorn in this department. I am, because I'm a nurse over probably close to 3,000 social workers and psychologists and nurses. And from being a nurse and working in the ER, when I tell you we all bleed the same, when the rubber meets the road, we are really all the same. If you need chest compressions, they gonna look the same on you, and you. It's gonna all look the same, you know. You need me to blow some air in your breath, it's gonna look the same. We are really all the same, and I feel such a great sense of gratitude that I've had this space to be unapologetically me.
You created a family. I know you very little, like through these conversations or what the chief shares with me, but it's you've created a family. Like I've always in my head, I don't treat my staff or my coworkers like we're just working. It's like it's my little brother or my little sister. So we have more camaraderie, and I feel that from you too. Because again, I don't think if you didn't feel like family, you would have said, we're not doing that, Manny. We're not doing that. We're taking a gamble. But I think, in my perspective, you see the community and the need, and you're like, wait, that can serve. That can help us serve in a different way. And maybe sometimes I remember when I came on board, a lot of the conversation was rebranding. So from the outside looking in, I'm like, this is perfect to rebrand and to shift the way we've been delivering services, right?
Exactly. That's beautiful.
Awesome.
That is beautiful.
But it's part of that family too, that bond that you've created. And with everybody you oversee or you manage, a lot of the times I was telling the chief, like, it's this teamwork, right? I could have told you, hey, if he would have been someone else, I would have said, hey, I know how to build websites. I bet you I can reorganize the DMH website. And you would have said, absolutely not. Your job is to be a CHW, and I expect you to be the best CHW in the world. But I think it takes being able to take that gamble, being able to see that, hey, if this works, this can benefit everyone.
Everybody.
It revolutionizes everything, and I think ultimately, right, the reason we do this job is to support the community, to help people out. I think it's really cool just to see the impact that we've made in 7, and even like let's say when we first rolled out the website thing, I think it was only us in 7, and then I started doing the other service areas, so it's impacted the other service
That's what I
areas
was about to
too.
say. Not just 7. You have rolled out so much across the system, and isn't that what we want?
But I say we, not to interrupt you, because if it wasn't without his support and your support, your leadership, that wouldn't have
See, and I think that's what's key. There's a difference between having a manager and having a leader.
Yeah.
And we have been benefactors of your leadership.
Yes.
Where, like, I'm glad and I'm proud of all the work that we've all done, but to be honest, we couldn't have done this had it not been for your support, had it not been for your guidance, had it not been for you sometimes telling me, you need to go do something out there. Like, you know, and
Take a chance.
even when we talked about, not that long ago, about when we started a few months ago with the support groups with the immigration stuff that was going on. Before we got hit with all the ICE raid, it was one of those things that is like, well, do we have this? And Theion was all like, until they tell us what to do,
We gotta
you
do
need
something.
to go. Yeah,
We
do
have
it.
to do something.
Do it. Yeah. And you know, I know it's been something that it's created a lot more work for us, but it's also given us the opportunity to really connect with the community. I can tell you, I hear, including like on Friday at our SALT meeting, we had so many community members there. A lot of Tay showed up, which was great to see, because that's a population we were trying to target. But to hear them share that, like, you know, there was a time where we would bring these ideas to these same meetings, and DMH didn't do anything about it. Like, you guys have really like started to listen, but I think that's the key in having you as our leader there, as our senior, who you've done it, you've been out there, you've worked with the clients, you've done all of our roles, and
Some
with
of them
that
were nicer,
experience,
funner. They were funner. They were funner. We just said that. We just, Matt and I just said, if we can go back and just keep our salary and just do the work.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Really.
yeah.
It's funny you say that. Of course, like Manny said, we stay very busy, but sometimes I still get those opportunities to be out in the community. So we started a partnership with the LGBTQ Center in the city of Whittier. And it was kind of like, it was really funny how that happened. We were at public health, because our SALT meeting happens at a public health. And I think, was it you, Erica, who told me, let's go to the LGBTQ Center. And we walked in, and they were literally like, oh my God, we wanted you guys here forever. Like, when
Oh, I
can...
love that.
So literally, we have open hours with them. They love us there. They include us in everything they do. We've already had their director on the podcast. His name is he's gonna be on our panel.
Yeah, DeMonte.
DeMonte, super cool person. But my point is, I think sometimes just getting out there. Do you know what I mean? The other day, I had an experience where we were there at the center, and this gentleman walked in. He's experiencing. He didn't have a place to stay. He literally just came in off the streets, and he kind of was like checking it out. And Hispanic person, there's a lot of stigma. You walk into a building that's painted with rainbows, there's a lot of stigma there. The fact that he opened up, so started talking to him, we started telling him we're there. He sat down for a good minute, shared all kind of information, and he was having difficulty, some type of substance abuse. And I told him, look, the good thing is that you're here. You took that first step. And I told him, every Tuesday and Thursday, when you come here, you'll find one of my staff here, either me or someone else. We'll always have somebody here. And I said, I gave him my card. I'm like, look, you can call me. That's my cell phone number. I will respond. I said, if you have an email, send me an email. I'll put you on the distribution list. But sometimes just making those small connections with the people. I come home with such a great feeling.
That part.
I tell my wife, like, this is so cool. Like, I know it's just one person, but maybe he'll remember us. Maybe he'll come back. Or the impact that they had on that gentleman. They met him that day, and he went to the men's group. I'm like, that's amazing. That's like generic. So like, at the very beginning of the conversation, you said something to the effects of like, can you tell it's really needed? Absolutely. It's tremendously needed. I think it's just, again, access and finding out that it's there. And kind of trying to remove those barriers for the community so that they can see we're actually doing a lot. It's, gotta meet us 50-50, right? We gotta meet in the middle.
Well, I think that's part of the approach has been different as well, where, and Theion, you talk about a lot at our service area chiefs meeting of, collaboration is one thing, but partnership is something different.
Absolutely.
And if you can partner with the community, with private sector, public sector, and get them to invest, to buy into it, now there's ownership.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they'll want to be a part of it. And that's basically like that whole concept that we've kind of just turned around and applied it to the community. And, from our public partnerships, like you were saying, with public health and with the LGBTQ plus center, but also working with small businesses to have, to donate food.
Yeah.
To, we don't even have to ask for stuff and they'll graciously donate stuff, It's to businesses donating toys.
Yeah.
For
That's
kids.
amazing too.
That's
That's insane.
But I think it's really having to, again, based on like what you've shared, is partnering up with your community. And each community is different.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the fact that you guys have done it, it's you guys are the blueprint for moving this across the system. Our landscape is completely different in California, in the United States, and us being able to shift with it to make sure people still get their needs met. You guys are already ahead of that, by the way you communicate, by, looking on Instagram, by all of those things. DMH is just trying to catch up with not being so archaic. Oh, we're going to send you a letter. Yeah, people have already seen it, just send me an Instagram message or inbox me or something like that. But you guys have already laid the foundation for that across, and how you've even did the websites across the system. Other service areas, some more than others, like really took it and went with it, like, oh, let me add this, let me, and then they update it every month, and all of that would have never happened if you didn't have the idea to try. It's just, I don't know, when I was a little kid, I never was afraid to ask my father for stuff, because I really did feel like all you could say is no.
Yeah.
And no meant in my head, not right now.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to resurface this. I'm gonna have to come on back. But you can think like that about the work,
I think so.
Okay, this is a barrier, but let's find a workaround. How do we work around this? How do we make this work? Because people need this. People need this service. And I think if we've learned anything from the last year in our current administration, is that people need connectivity. They need to be connected. Maslow's hierarchy of the need is just to be linked to somebody. That somebody cares about me, And I think what you guys have been able to do in 7 speaks to that, because no matter how far, and specifically with men, I think that's one of the things I'm most impressed about what you've done in 7, because men have a target on them. They do. If you are a black or a brown man, I think they walk out the door feeling like there's a target on my back. There's a target on my back. So to give men a space to feel safe and safe, sometimes I step out the door and damn, I'm just scared. I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to get shot. I'm going to get attacked. Or somebody's going to, when I'm just trying to take care of my family, or I'm just trying to go to work, And then I just think men, even though we don't always see it like this, but there's so much built pressure on a man. I gotta take care of my family. Do they not get to have a bad day? You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I can remember, and this is a true story. My husband is retired now, but he used to work for the post office, and he retired as a supervisor. But maybe 18 years into our marriage, one day he just came home and said, I quit. And I said, okay, we'll be fine. And went on and made dinner. He, of course, did not quit. I mean, this is the kind of person that wouldn't even call in sick. When he retired, he had a year worth of sick time. But he was just so fed up with work that day. And I guess he just wanted to see what would her reaction be. And I was like, okay. We'll be all right. It'll be fine. We'll be okay. I know he works hard, so you'll find something else. It'll just be okay. And he always told me, the fact that you let me have that space, even to just fantasize about this woman didn't trip out because he said, it just made me want to work harder and stronger. But I think men just need space just to say, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. It's okay to not have all the answers as the daddy, as the husband. I don't know. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really, I really feel for men right now in this time, because I just feel like, and specifically black and brown men, because there's just seems like, can I just go to work and just come home? And not be bothered,
Absolutely.
And imagine if you were a 19-year-old.
So, been there, done that. I am so grateful for my family and for my daughter. It changed my life completely. But I agree with you 100%. I think when we first created the men's group, not only did we both notice the need, but we both agreed, like, if we could really make this happen and really make it work, get men to open up. And I tell you, Theion, I don't know, of course, Manny shares with you, but people come to our group religiously. And the days that we're like late or work might cancel, they're like, hey, what happened? We were all like,
what's going on?
Yeah,
They scold us.
Like, what's going on?
They'll literally be like, can you guys still do the link? And even if you can't be there, we still need to meet. Like,
We need to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. So we have a
Do you understand how powerful that is, though?
Yeah.
It trips me out.
Yeah.
It trips me out because I've shared this before on the podcast. As a man, the way I was brought up was boys don't cry. You have no emotions. You have no feelings. You need to get a job. Because who's going to help pay the house? Who's going to help my mom with this? That's just the way you're brought up, right? So to actually be able to create a genuine spot, I think to me, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I always tell Manny, every time we do the group, I take something away with it. Because it's not just for them, it's for everybody there. And I know sometimes it's cool to throw the word around like this is a safe space. But the other day when the new member joined, I read him the rules, which are off the top of my head, and he just kind of laughed at me. Because there's really no rules other than being respectful and not judging anybody in that circle. And it's a real safe space. Yeah. And Grayson will tell you, he's kind of taken the lead on it, which is really cool, helps me out a bunch. But also one of our older gentlemen who has been attending the group since the inception, he's taken the lead. And he does this really cool thing where he's dealing with a situation at home with cats. And he'll give us updates on the cats. And it is like, that is his moment when we're like, hey, so-and-so, what's going on with, oh, he's like, well, I'm glad you asked. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and this and that, and I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
But I also see what you're saying, like, if I would have had something like that when I was a youth, maybe things would have been different. And so, like, my perspective is I tell the chief, this also helps out with, like, men in terms of, like, being fathers, right? Because not only are you helping them, de-stress or talk about whatever might be going on, it's kind of preventative work in a sense, but then also maybe they'll be able to be in healthier relationships. And when that child comes, because it will come, when that child comes, they'll be able to help that child, right?
And socialize that child different than how
Correct.
you were raised, how you were raised, how I was raised. What you just said about how you were raised in terms of that is socialized for black women. And my daughter said to me one time, Mom, you raised me to be so strong. So sometimes I'm angry with my husband because he's not doing something, but I realize I'm not giving him the opportunity to do anything because, I just got it. And I have to own that. I have to really, that you can let down and say, hey, I need some help. I can't do all of this. I'm tired. Or, the homework, the dinner, get the lunch, the whole, some days it's just like, okay, can we go through, let's roll through In and Out.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing tonight. Are we having peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
And this is it for, because mommy's tired, daddy's tired, we're all tired,
Oh, yeah. I tell Manny, lately what me and my wife have been doing is like, we're both exhausted, right? So I say to her, as long as the baby eats, we're good, right? I can do a sandwich late at night. I'm okay with that, right? So we'll just get something simple for the baby or make her something. And then she's really easy. She's like, I just want a quesadilla, Dad. I'm like, I got you. Quesadilla on its way, right? I've been telling him, come to the house, sit down, just sit on the couch. And it's like just mentally drained, right? But then I'm also very grateful. And I appreciate, again, the opportunity, right? I always tell Manny jokingly, right? If you leave 7, I'm leaving with you. Take me with you. I don't want to be anywhere else if it isn't under his guidance. And when I came to the department, I told him, I don't know if he remembers that I said, the only reason I agreed to take the job was because you were in charge of Service Area 7, right? So I think it's teamwork. You've created this as well. You've allowed us to do this. And I am very, how would I say, I'm very conscious and aware of that. Because I tell him, like when I was in the private sector, I also had a lot of ideas and they were like, no buddy, you are this role and that's what you do. We appreciate your ideas, but no. So if you wouldn't have said yes, he wouldn't have said yes, and none of that would have happened.
Well, and it goes to so many different layers, because even with AICC to get their TP, it was that was years in the making. I would tell Theion, like, I'm trying this way, but they're saying no. Then you got to do a sole source contract and this and that. And it was like always no. And Theion could have just as easily been like, just drop it. Like, okay, you got other stuff you got to do. But her encouragement was always like, there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Go
Try
go
another
try it.
workaround.
Yeah. And to the point that we were
You
able,
have it.
we
You
were
have
able
it.
to get that, and there's so much that we've been able to accomplish. But again, in large part, it's your guidance. It has helped rebrand who we are in the community, and I can tell you that when I came into Service Area 7, we were the Department of Mental Illness. I heard that from so many people out in the
Really?
street. They said, all you guys deal with are with 5150s and the homeless. You're the Department of Mental Illness. We're okay, we don't need you guys. With all the support that you've been able to get us from allowing us to get t-shirts branded with the QR code so people can access resources, to podcasts, everything that you've encouraged and supported us along the way, we're now the Department of Mental Health, where people are actually seeing that we're promoting recovery, we're promoting wellness. They see us as an asset. Where before I had to go knocking on doors and beg city council officers and mayors to connect with us.
Even talk with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's I'm having to be I can't right now. We're pulled too thin, but we're trying to. People are reaching out to us in so many different aspects, and again, it's being able to do that and having the freedom, but having the encouragement that you've done. And I know, like you said, this wasn't you never envisioned yourself in this role, but we've been the benefactors, and through that process, our community has. Because I can tell you, if you come out to Service Area 7, you'll hear from community members who will say, for years, we were neglected. We didn't get anything. And community members, providers, are I've never seen us thriving. So, everybody pulls together. LEs, DOs, our CBOs, faith-based agencies. It's we're just welcomed all over the place.
Agreed.
But it's again, it's thanks to your leadership, though, Theion. I mean,
And it's some of our leadership of our director, because she trusted that I wouldn't go too far off the rails. I wouldn't go too, because boxes should be stored. The lines should have some flow. I really do feel like that. I mean, just because it's never been done doesn't mean that it shouldn't be.
Well,
Let's just try.
Yeah.
some of the greatest inventors broke all the rules. Said, I know we do it this way all the time, but what if I
What if
can
we
invent
tweaked
a
it?
new way? Right? And worst thing that can happen is you don't fail, but you learn through that process. I was telling my buddy the other day, we hung out, told him I no longer see barriers, I just see opportunities to grow.
That part.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the funnest projects I've had in this role was in the middle of the pandemic when the vaccines came out. And then we were getting all this information from DPH, and they were asking us, how can we help? How can we help? And Dr. Sue said, well, we can have some vaccine clinics. And I said, that sounds fun, let's do it. And then we had a chief of nursing at the time, and they were like, well, she should do it. I said, no, I'm going to work with Dr. Sue. And Dr. Sue, and I think Andrew and one other clinical pharmacist, we all said, okay, we're going to go here, we're going to go here, we're going to go here. And then we just went and met with the nurses and said, we're going to give vaccine because we're going to make sure our community and the people we serve are healthy. Are you in? And, people were like, sure. And they're like, are you just giving us? I said, no, I'm being next to you giving shots. Don't let me give more than you. I gave out, I think, 2 gift cards for 2 nurses who beat me in 8 service areas. Nobody else.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was running neck and neck with the pharmacists. But it was just this wonderful, and even to do it downtown with Stacy, this is a very transit, and we had to do it 2 weeks there. What fun it was. What fun it was. And then you saw people come from the buildings, from the offices, from downtown that were not clients and said, can I get a vaccine? Absolutely. Come on up in here. I mean, because we were taking care of the community. Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
There you go.
That was completely out of the box. There were no rules. We made that up as we went. And people were able to get vaccinated. It showed communities that DMH cares about you, and we care about your health. I think that's what we're about. That's why you come into mental health and why you come into community mental health. You know, our new transition into BHSA, and you keep hearing this said more and more, that we're going to do more things out in the field, but isn't that where the clients are?
Exactly.
Isn't that where the clients are? You work in community mental health. If you get a field bonus and you get paid mileage, what's the problem?
Well,
What's the problem?
I told Manny way back when when I got the role at the PRC, our community's not going to walk into this building. You know, I've learned a lot in my path, right? And I'm like, our community is out in the field. If you let me go out to them, I'll make this grow. But if you expect me to give you numbers sitting in this building, tough cookies. And
I love that. I love that.
But for me, it was just a no-brainer. And he had told me too, no, yeah, that's kind of part of the concept. So we started. To me, Theion, it was a no-brainer. Go to the community centers. They're called community centers for a reason. Go to the Y. I remember when I was a kid, there was a Red Shield down the street. I went to the Red Shield. That's where you're going to find the people who need the support. Don't get me wrong. All community members need support. But that's how we kind of got our foot in
The
the
real
door.
need, yeah, is there.
And then the cities realize that you're doing that work, and they're like, "Hey, how can we help you?" And I'm like,
Manny told me about your mobile recharge station. I am so with it. That is so with it. Popping up with some strips and some coffee. Let's get busy. How wonderful is that?
I
That's
think
how
it's
we
really
met
cool.
that gentleman that came to our group.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
That's what I'm saying.
Manny used to say something to me back in the days that I didn't get till now. So Manny used to tell me, all I want is a good team. I feel you're a part of that awesome team that we have now. We wouldn't be able to do these things, but the mobile recharge station for me again was a no-brainer.
Theon's kind of like our Phil Jackson. She's our head coach. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah. That's,
When I think we met about it a few weeks ago before we
Just
shot
did
the
it?
podcast.
Yeah.
And Manny, we were on the phone on Teams, and I remember my response was like, "Cool, let's go. When can we get started? I'm ready to build a web page reflecting what that is." And it's a very basic concept. Again, you're out in the community, you're providing resources, support, linkage.
Mhm.
That's what the community needs, right? And
Yes.
if inadvertently you happen to be able to lend support to somebody and it becomes like a one-on-one, that's even better, right? You have coffee, you have water, you have the charging stations.
Mhm.
Nowadays, everyone's on their phone.
Exactly.
Everyone's on a mobile device
Yeah.
of one type or another. So it's funny you mentioned that, 'cause I had a staff member already said to me, I know that we're waiting to order the connectors for like the different phones, but I have all of these at home and I just brought them. And I said, perfect.
Do it.
I
That's
said,
what I'm
"Let's do it."
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, we've been talking, which is great. And I realized we haven't given you the opportunity to present yourself to people who might not know who you are. And we're just sitting, talking, which is awesome.
I'm just Theion Perkins. I am the Senior Deputy Director for Outpatient Care Services. But people who know me know I'm just Theion.
No, you're Theion.
Yeah, she leads
Yeah.
the largest portion of our department. I mean, think about that.
Mhm.
You know, our outpatient care services, OCS, is the biggest piece of
Of the
DMH.
That's
Yeah.
intense.
And DMH is the largest public mental health system you have in the country.
Yeah, that's intense.
You got to think about the type of, you know, leadership that she has a big piece of the pie. Yeah, and you know, as you were mentioning BHSA earlier, and as we're preparing for that whole transition, you know, we were at a meeting earlier, and there was the questions like, how's everybody feeling about this whole transition? And you know, some people are nervous, anxious about some of the stuff. Theion just was just like, we're good,
I'm ready.
because
We are gonna be good.
well, because she's also she hasn't been keeping us in the dark. We've been talking about this for some time.
Mhm.
We've been having these type of discussions. We know where our direction is. So we need to start having those conversations and start planning for that. So that also when we're meeting with our staff, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
We all know July 1st, this is what's
This is
popping
what's
up.
coming.
Yeah.
But that's a great energy or attitude to have about anything, right? Like if you put fear in yourself, you're gonna be hesitant, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know. But if you're transparent and you move forward, you know. And I've always said, I'll pull the train, but I'm gonna need a little support. But I'll pull this train. Let's go.
That's what I'm saying.
So I think that's really awesome, and I mean, geez, I came into mental health. I started working my first mental health job. I want to say it was 2002, 2003. I worked for a Kedron community, way back.
Mm-hmm.
I was a case manager, mental health worker at Kedron. But my point is that that was MHSA time. So I know sometimes Manny he tells me, did you ever meet so and so, or do you remember this person? I don't. But I came in during MHSA time,
Mhm.
so this is going to be a huge change.
It's going to be a shift.
And I know people ask me, so what do you know? I know what you know. We've told you every email that I get that we're supposed to share, it's there. Read the bulletins. It's there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about, even at our SALT co-chairs asked about SB 43, and I was like, yeah, we've presented on that. This is, the community knows about this. Just some of the transitions that we've been talking about with levels of care, but it's been, I think you used a key word, which was transparency.
Yeah.
I think that's been a huge change maker, because it's developing a community, and it's no longer us versus them. It's, we're all in this together.
That part.
We're all going to be going through this, whether you're directly operated, whether you're a contractor, whether you're a church who makes referrals over to whoever, all of our different, this is going to impact all of us, and being transparent about that and sharing the information with the community.
Mm-hmm.
And like we did on Friday, asking for feedback.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the link. We need you all to take a look at what the proposed plan is. Provide feedback, be a part of it. So like that, you're no longer in a position like we were, like you always say, a few years ago, nobody listened to us. Here's your chance.
Exactly. Open up your mouth and talk to us. And it's for the first time since I've been in this department, we're going to be able to demonstrate what the continuum of care looks like, and where all the resources. I mean, I've been here 26 years next month, and I'm telling you, I still find out stuff like, what? We do that? Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's over here in juvenile justice, or it's over here. I mean, it's in the courts. It's like, why would you know that? Because you're just working in your own. This BHSA transformation is actually going to be good for us. Mm-hmm. It is, because even as Jen talked about today, when people want to get in our system, they just throw everything at the wall. Let's see what sticks. And we're trying to make that much more streamlined. There's algorithms in there that has criteria. So if you're unhoused and maybe you have a substance use problem, you haven't been housed for over a year, but you're having some psychiatric, maybe you should go to FSP. So when your referral goes in, some of those criteria will hit because you wrote it, and it'll already go there. It won't be like, well, let me call up, no, it'll already go there. We're trying to streamline, really DMH is really coming into the news,
Mm-hmm.
You know what the issue is, Theion? It makes sense. Sorry, I always have a joke.
It's the truth. It's the truth. It makes sense.
The minute you start talking about algorithms and criteria, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't mean we're not going to be able to do preventative work or help the community. It just means we're going to have levels, and you're going to have to be able to meet certain criteria to access certain levels of care.
So it can make sense. So it can really make sense.
Yeah.
Why maybe you only have 25 people on your caseload, because everybody that's on your caseload is a level 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Jaime and I have 2s and 3s. And so we have double the amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
But your clients are much more complex. For the first time, we are aligning things that really do make sense. You can always talk about anecdotes and talk about, but if you don't have any data to back it up, it's kind of for naught. That's just what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Your clients are harder. But when I look at it and look at the level of care tool, no, you've got these domains you hit. Mm-hmm. So that is really, really the truth. And this is a good thing for our department. It really is.
I'll share with you. So Manny knows this. I'm a data freak and a technology freak, right? So I remember the first time you mentioned, what's the tool called? The level
Locust.
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 In my head, I was like, that's genius. Why didn't that happen a long time ago? Not just for the transition now, but that should have been implemented years ago.
Yeah.
Because we could better differentiate
Exactly.
who needs the service and who needs what
Oh,
service.
what did you say? Who needs the service and who does not? Who should be taken care of by managed care
Correct.
and who should not? I mean, but better late than never. Better late than better late. And Dr. Wong really pushed. We have got to get a level of care tool in place. And there was some pushback to me about making sure everybody got the locust done by December 31st. And I said, I'm so sorry, but too bad. We need to have this data so that we can figure out who is shifting, who needs to go where. And it really puts us all on the same playing field. And our legal entities are going through the process now. There won't be the ability for people to cherry pick, because we're all talking the same language. Back when I worked with older adults, we used to utilize the mini mental status exam all the time. And it was common language in the older adult realm. So when you hospitalize somebody and you said, yeah, but their mini mental status is 15, the hospital already knew they got some cognitive deficits. So I need to pay attention to that. Our level of care is putting us all on the same playing field. And it's a beautiful thing. We are really moving in the right direction. And yeah, it's a little scary, but put that vest on and jump out in the water.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Because that's how I am. I'm like, let's do this. Like when we were talking about the recharge stations. We had that con. I'm like, yeah, so what, can we start tomorrow?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Because if you don't do it, then you're never going to know. And it's like, yeah, there's going to be little hiccups.
And you course correct.
Correct. That's so when I first joined Manny's team, Manny used to say all the time, we're building the plane as we fly it. And I used to tell my wife, I hate that saying. Like, oh my God, that is so, but then I'm like, nah, I like that now.
Yeah, because it's the truth.
Yeah, but I've learned, okay, so you guys referenced, DMH is one of the largest.
It is the largest.
Okay, there we go. So of course you're gonna have to do that because you're setting the path. There is no blueprint that doesn't have changes. There's you see the blueprint and you're like, nah, we're gonna move that door over here and I want this, you gotta do that. And then eventually it'll fine tune itself.
But again, I think part of it is it's a transparency though.
Yeah.
Because we've had to go, like we've talked about these monumental changes before, like with MHSA. But I think the approach is different this time around because there's more transparency.
That's good.
So it's like with Theion, what you mentioned about having a locus done on every one of our clients by the end of December. It was one of those where it wasn't just because Theion wants this. It was, she explained it. She would explain it across the board, whether it was at program heads meetings, with the service chiefs meeting.
Or whatever.
Yeah, the clinical supervisors forum, it was, we're doing this because we need the data. This will guide us, this will give us feedback on where our clients are at. This will guide how much she's gonna advocate for where do
I
we
need
need
more
ACT.
staff,
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
yes. Where do we need the resources? What kind of resources do we need so that we are addressing the needs of the
Absolutely.
community? And I think that's where the key is it is change, and again, any type of change causes a little bit of anxiety and stress. But I think there's also now the knowledge of like, oh, well,
It's for a reason.
yeah, we're finding the opportunities in this change.
It's intentionality. You're being intentional about your actions. Similar with the PRC, like in 7, for me, I'm very big on that, right? Tell me what our purpose is, and of course, silly question. I know what our purpose is, right? But tell me what our purpose is. Show me some numbers, and we can make this work. Show me where we're at. Where's our? That's why, like initially, again, 7, right? I'm like, we could do something with 7. Yeah, I can see the need. I grew up here, right? And then 6, I grew up here. I'm like, we should do something together. We should move, again, we should start trying to move something together. Get together, have some events, have some campaigns. Because I'm seeing it through like a marketing lens, but also serving the community, right? Because we're technically marketing our services to the community to try to destigmatize. Because there's still tons of stigma.
Oh, and both of our communities.
Absolutely.
And, mental illness.
Are you?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Who are you talking to? Yeah.
Whenever I talk to my buddies and they're like, "What do you do, Jaime?" And I'm like, "I work for LA County," and they're like, "LA County, what do you do?" I'm like, "The Department of Mental." Oh, with those people, I'm like, it ain't like that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're all people, number one, but number two, we're actually trying to support our community so that it's better, right? And so yeah, I grew up, like I said, down the street. This is again when we were coming up here reminiscing. They didn't know all the stories I told them, but it was fun. My point is that bringing both communities together, really helping uplift. I think I mentioned to you in the past, I went to, one of the many schools that I went to was Fauché.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, in Fauché was the first time that I was in band class. But I remember the need. I remember that a lot of the students there struggled. I think I shared with Manny coming back 1 year after summer. And one of my buddies had completely, you know, we were innocent kids in band. And when we came back after 7, he was involved with some type of neighborhood.
Gang,
Because-
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, now through the lens of being a dad and going through all those struggles, if we would have had something in place to catch that, to really catch it,
That part.
it would have
That part.
it would have prevented all these deaths or people ending up in prison, all these things that happen due to those circumstances, right? And even with Erika, she was sharing with me earlier, you know, we're kind of born sometimes, unfortunately, into these situations. So if we don't figure out how to move ourselves out of there or how to like uplift ourselves, we're gonna fall into a situation, right? So I guess in my head, the way I see it is we're marketing to destigmatize, to try to help the little ones, but also help their parents. Because, you know, my daughter's awesome, but she couldn't do it without 2 awesome parents.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If I was not okay, I wouldn't be able to be the dad who I am. You know, because I remember, again, from being a kid, all the struggles my mom went through. My mom raised 5 of us, and a single mom, and she did it all. You know, she's a superhero, you know, and at least in my eyes, my mom was a superhero, she's super cool. But it's a trip. I'm really fortunate and really grateful to be part of this system that's moving these things. But I'm very intentional too, like whenever Manny says, what if we do this, or we come up with an idea, I'm always spinning my wheels like, I just don't want it to be like a one-time thing. How can we make this an actual...
And make it sustainable.
Make it sustainable.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, something you just said, and you're talking about your daughter, and she wouldn't be who she is without 2 awesome parents. Mary, the other senior, who's on the other side of the wall, we've been very intentional about, Manny will tell you, her chiefs are in our meeting, because you don't have children without parents,
Yeah.
and you don't have parents without children.
Correct.
So you could do all this work with children, but if you still send them home to 2 parents that are all messed up, that was all for naught, and vice versa.
Correct.
So we've been very, very intentional about checking with each other, staying, something will run across her desk that has to do with children, she'll still send it to me. What do you think? What do you, and we've constantly communicated like that. I have seen this department change from being this very siloed place to this community of individuals that are trying to move this ship. And it's really been a beautiful thing. And at every level, in the department, when I was a younger person in the department, like I didn't even understand the hierarchy. What are chiefs? What are deputies? What is all that? I didn't understand it and didn't understand how it worked. And oh, this is just mine. You know, no, none of this belongs to any of us. This is all DMH County stuff, and even your staff, they don't belong to you. They belong to this system, and we're all trying to work in it together. And I just see so many walls that have come down, you know, and I'm so confident on how the OCS team is going to continue to move. Even after I've retired, they're going to continue to move things forward in a way that is meaningful, not just for each other, but for the people in the communities we serve. And that makes me really, really proud. It really does. It makes me proud. You know, again, I talked to you about when I started thinking about last July, I'm going to retire next year. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to stop working in this realm. I'm gonna stop working where I, don't sleep as much as I probably should, and all the things. And it was just kind of dry. But as I've had time in the last couple of weeks to reflect on the impact that I think I've been able to make, it's like, wow, this little black girl from Compton was able to do this. And again, being the unicorn in this department, I'm a nurse.
That's
And
fire.
yeah,
That's fire.
yeah. I mean, it's so out of, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a social worker.
Mhm.
That wasn't my training, but I so believe in social workers and psychologists and have been able to partner with them. It's been amazing. This has been an amazing ride. It really has.
I want to tell you something, Theion. My mom retired early. My mom retired at 50. And she went through a lot. Like, my mom didn't have a career. She worked at a sweatshop. She did
Whatever, to feed y'all. Yeah.
However, when she retired, me and my sister would laugh. She'd garden all day. And I love it. And you deserve that. Whatever your garden all day is, you deserve that. You've done so much. Everybody does. Like, we shouldn't have to work till you're like, I don't know, a few months away from kicking the bucket.
Hello?
You should be able to enjoy your retirement. And like, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be like challenging at first. But I used to tell my mom used to say, I don't know why my water bill is so big, mijo, and to me and my sister. And my sister would tell me, do you think there's a leak? And I'm like, nah, dude. She runs the water hose all day. She opens up the water hose and she just lets it run.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what? Do you guys remember when they had declared there was a water issue?
Shortage, and you could only water on one Monday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, and Friday. Mm-hmm.
If you drove down 39th and Harvard, there was a house there with the greenest pasture ever, the greenest lawn. My mom grew an avocado in the front of her yard. She had all these trees. And so now that my sister lives there, she's like, how did my mom do it? I'm like, I told you, dude. She ran
And
the
that
water
all the
hose all day.
time.
But you deserve that. I think, for me, part of growth and part of like recovery is allowing yourself that space.
Absolutely.
Don't-
Absolutely.
Don't be hard on yourself. To me, you've done all of this. This isn't, you said it, right? This isn't our podcast. This belongs to the department. But in a sense, this is your baby because you allowed us to do this. And you allowed Manny to hire me. He didn't know. What if I would have been a flop?
You're not a flop. You're definitely not a flop. Definitely.
But-
Definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm actually going to be I went to school in the summer to be a certified doula.
Oh, okay.
So I got another little,
Wow,
Wow.
that's awesome.
got a little project.
One of my nieces, she just had a baby. And she went that route. And everybody kind of freaked out at first. But the baby is healthy. Beautiful. We just went up there to visit her this weekend. And it was really cool.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
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 Like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
They live up in the crest line. So
There's
I
too
went.
many young women having babies by themselves that have been either in the system, in the foster care system. You're 19, you get pregnant, you don't have a mother, you don't have a sister. The boyfriend is gone, and you're having a baby. That should not be.
Yeah.
That should not be. So I'm going to lend my support to those young women to support them through their pregnancy and through the delivery of their babies. Just because it's pretty much it's one of the most astounding things God ever gave us, to give birth to somebody, and to do it alone is pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. So yeah, that's my next project.
Oh, that's cool though. But you know what? If you ever see anybody who needs support, you're gonna be like, guess what? You get 2 in 1.
Yeah,
I know some people.
that part. Absolutely.
We need to make sure to send her everything, all the events for 007 so she can attend. You need to follow us on Instagram.
I already following you.
Then she'll be able, she's ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm following
You know, hearing you talk about how you've seen the department change to the Department of Mental Health, and Theion being a unicorn in a social work department, I feel like since I've been here, I see this as the department of empathy, like 100%. Like I've never been surrounded by more empathetic people that are just understanding, like
Yeah.
I love that.
ever. So if you know, this to me, it's like we're the Department of Empathy. Doesn't matter, social worker, community health worker, nurse, chief, deputy,
Yeah.
supervising community health worker, PSW2. You know, I just feel like we're the Department of Empathy, and it just, man, it hit
Listen,
me.
I
when-
love that. I love that.
when
I
I-
love your heart for that. That you really, that's what we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, if anybody ought to understand, it ought to be this goddamn department. You know, it ought to
And-
be us.
And I feel like we do. I feel like we do.
Well, because I think as you know, even in my role, because that's what I get from Theion. You know, it's that empathy, it's that support.
That's the core.
She sees
of
she
DMH.
sees the frustration sometimes that we all experience, but she instead of just like no, this is, you know, have you looked at this policy? She'll just take a moment just to listen, and then every so often it'll just be a conversation of, so what's next?
How we gonna try?
Yeah.
How we gonna try a different door?
What else are we doing? What, you know, and it has been, you know, you can't learn that type of leadership from, there's no class, there's no book, it's just something that's born in you. And I mean, you're already talking about being a doula, and like, I'm hearing this and that's inspirational.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's inspiring. That's like something like, wow, you're so right. That's such a huge need and such a gap for young women, and
Especially coming out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know.
impactful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially coming out of the system. You know, it's. I've said multiple times. I've been blessed to do a lot of things at DMH, but having my son and my daughter, those are two things I had to get right. Raising them, those are how you feel about that they're decent human beings.
Okay.
Those are the things that you have to get right.
Yeah.
That you have to really get right.
You can't play with that.
Exactly. I've talked to supervisors, young supervisors, and talked to them in terms of mentoring them, and then asked them, what does your home life look like? And, you know, maybe they have like little kids. And I'd be transparent and honest and say, I wouldn't do this with little kids.
Yeah.
I would not do this with little kids. As there was a deputy here, her name was Yvette Townsend, and she had told me, one day you're going to be the program head of Genesis. And I was like, what kind of crack you smoking? Really? My kids were smaller, they were younger, they were teenagers, but they were younger. And I did not even become a supervisor until my son got a driver's license. And I say that to say that you have to have space in your life to be a chief. You have to have space even to be a program head. I mean, Manny will probably agree with me that a program head is the hardest job in this department, because you're dealing with all the line staff, and you're dealing with your chief that's dealing with their deputy or their senior deputy, and you're getting squished in the middle.
yeah.
You gotta really toe the line.
Yeah.
You really do. It really, you have to create an environment that is family-like when you run the program, because there's so many variables that can happen, and there's so many things you got to keep track of. I can remember my daughter saying, you have 2 children, not 40. And I have 40 staff in Genesis. But I knew people's birthday. I knew when their kids were graduating. I knew when kids were in trouble. I knew. And because when you make space for people, they'll work harder for you. They will work harder for you. There was a nurse that son was having their first psychotic break, and this was a nurse that I had recently hired, and you know, that's a lot to just take in. And at the time we still had paper notes. I said, okay, you've seen people all day. Go to the hospital and write your notes at the hospital when you go see your son. And this person was like, are you serious? Yeah, you gotta take care of your son. I can't expect you to take care of people, these older adults, if your head is about your son. So every day, at the end of the day, because this is a new employee, they don't have sick time, they don't have all that. They went to the hospital, they did their notes, sitting in the lobby, and then went to go visit their son every day. And that particular employee, I could have called, and they've not worked for me in a long time, but I could call that person and I'd say, I need you to go put somebody on a hold at blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, okay. Building those kind of relationships with people, that people matter. That people, I mean, and you know, you're always going to have the one-offs that just going to try to take advantage of you. But, you know, Michelle, one of our other chiefs, had a supervisor that was out during the pandemic. But she was supervising better than the people who were in the office. She really, really was. And the supervisor had a phobia about the pandemic, you know, really, really. And they're back now, but it took that person longer. But that person never stopped really doing their job and doing it really excellently. And so when we said you have to bring people back, that person got a little bit more grace. They did. You know, and these are the things that's what's interesting to me, like the union doesn't know about, like how much like we work with people to try to, you know, okay, because life happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life happens every day. You know, there were days, twice I had COVID, and my husband said, does your job even know you have COVID? You've never stopped working. I said, but I just had a sore throat. I'm fine. I'm not going there because I want to give you my cooties, but, you know, Dr. Benitez was still working here, and he called me one day, and I was working, and he said, am I talking to Lauren Bacall? Who are you? Because my voice was super deep. Hi, how are you? I said, oh, I'm just getting over COVID. I feel fine, but my voice is like this. And it's making those kind of connections with people. Our director, Lisa, just laughed. She was like, no, you just worked through COVID twice. Yeah, okay. But, you know, we had stuff to do. You know, I've not been on my email all day, from meeting to meeting to meeting today. I'm going to be here like 2 hours just catching up, just because that's the nature of this beast. But grateful for it.
Absolutely.
But that speaks to the leadership, right? And I think even like Grayson was mentioning right now, the empathy, but even having that congruency, right, that you have with your staff and everything that all of you are speaking, and we're in the field, it trickles down when we walk the field, when we have an interaction with like the staff, because it trickles down. And the way you are congruent with yourself, with your family, with your staff, that's what it is, because the community will see it. They'll see it if you really mean it or you don't. And I think a lot of the times, like all of you mentioned about maybe we might be seen in a different way when it comes to the department. We're building that relationship, but we're modeling. Just like you're modeling for your staff, we're doing it. We're showing what it is. I think we had last time in one of our events, I think I brought like bubbles. But that's deep breathing. But obviously it's different, right?
I love that.
Or maybe for like our culture, I could speak to like some singers and there's some songs. And that's for me, you're singing it out. But it's the skill that the community works with it, right? And they're able to have it as a
They can receive it.
And it trickles down to like everything you're mentioning now, that we are able to see it. We did it like, you know, this Friday that we were there in the community, listening to our community members and passing out our flyers, and they're like, oh, you guys are service here at 7? It's there? And we're like, yeah, cool, because we already have that reputation, you know?
Yeah. Well, your chief has been a real champion of that.
Yes.
He knows how to build a relationship with people, and it's hard for people to say no when they met you. It's true. It's true. You know, you just email somebody something, they don't even respond, or they get back to you kind of like, well, let me check into it. But if I come to your thing, hey, this is Theion. Theion with the green eyes? Theion with the green eyes. Yeah. Okay, well, all right. We don't normally do that, but yes.
But you know, you can't train that. You know, Erica is fire. You are fire. Manny's fire. Grayson is fire.
You are fire.
Thank you. But you can't train that. I think we are unique individuals doing the work that we do because we have passion behind it. You can't train somebody to treat their staff as family. In my life, I've had many supervisors. And now that I have the opportunity to supervise, I follow his lead. I follow the path because I see that it works. So like, my staff respond to me super cool, super chill. I don't micromanage because I know micromanaging doesn't work. But they know that I expect outcomes too. And they know that I expect,
excellence.
we need to make this work. right? But I think, again, it kind of all kind of comes back to you. You're our leader. Manny's our leader. Again, when I had some of these ideas, Manny was like, I don't know, hi, man.
While signing it, I don't know.
But look at where we are now. I mean, literally, I've seen the change. And I'll tell you, I've said this before, but when I was with a provider, the internal joke is, hey, do you know where I can find this form on the DMH website? No, but I'll email the person who has it. We've changed that. Now people say things like, hey, you know, you can find stuff. I was actually doing a presentation on the website, and our navigation team said, are the forms on the page? I said, absolutely, here. On the bottom, do we have a brochure? Absolutely, right here. And I've already told Manny, I already have the new one with the BHSA language. I'm just waiting, right? But the point is, we prepare.
This was such a good hire. I'm sure.
No, we honestly though, we prepare, we do our
They
due
call us.
diligence, we connect with people, we're out in the community, we're doing everything we can to support the community, to really help make that change. One of my biggest pet peeves is like when people say, like, yeah, I was a part of that too, or I did that, and they didn't really do anything. I'm like, I can't. Because we work so hard at everything we do. You know, like, the way I see things too is I love to uplift people. So earlier when we were outside, I told Grayson, when you're a social worker, that's going to be awesome. And I told Erica, one day you're going to supervise me. I'm like,
Speaking to their life, I love that.
correct.
Mhm.
Because
I love
you want to uplift people, not limit them. You want people to grow, right? What's wrong with that? What are you afraid of? That one day they're going to come back and take your role? I hope so.
Hello?
I
Hello?
hope so.
Hello?
I'm like, yo, I'll be ready to retire by then too, you know, or not. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
There's enough work to be done to share. There's, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. there's-
It's inspiring people
Mhm.
because it's going beyond treating this like a job.
Yeah.
You know, if you treat what we do as a job, you're in the wrong field.
that part.
You know, it's this is really it's a calling. It really is, and like to your point, Erica, I wholeheartedly agree. It trickles down because you know, I know Theion will just check in on me, and if I see her and I know she can see sometimes like you okay, like if I'm stressed, and it'll just be one of these where you know, just let me know if there's anything I can do. That in itself is just like okay,
Yeah.
so. You know, my boss is seeing me.
Yeah.
That really changes the culture, and that trickles down because then you know I go back and I'm also like I need to check in on my people. It's like I haven't checked in on my people in a minute. And that's where I go out. I'll walk by and see how everybody's doing, and then but that trickles down because the same approach that we're having with the community in general. So yeah, no, I definitely think it's been modeled to us, so we try to do the same thing in our daily activities as
And
well.
you guys have, you really have. I mean, again, I've met with all the chiefs and I see the difference with their managers. I mean, look at Sandra today, Kramer.
Mhm.
You know, you can tell she's being supported in a way that Sandra's speaking up.
Yeah,
You know, it's a beautiful thing to see.
yeah,
It really is, and that's Heather.
yeah.
That's Heather, you know, she's made some real changes at Harbor, and the new supervising psychiatrist is really just on board, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. Sean and Dennis, how much they've grown in 3,
Mhm.
you know, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It is really a good thing.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
y'all, I got a 4 o'clock.
I know. I was looking at the time, and I did want to say one last thing though before we cut. So I'm really big on owning my flaws, my mistakes. I was supposed to present you with a certificate that we got from the office of Janice Hahn for our June event last year, and I forgot.
No worries.
No, I did. I told Manny, I forgot the certificate and my laptop. I'm like, oh
No,
my gosh.
no worries.
But I was grabbing all this stuff, getting everything together.
I will get it from him and bring it to you.
This, I don't need a certificate. This is priceless. This is really, really priceless. I'm so grateful for both of you, for this entire team. Jaime, you're a unicorn in TMH too. You really are. You are something special. And Grayson, I'm glad that you've been added to this team. Many that you could see outside of the box of what you know, the little, oh, this is what I need. No, this is what I need. Is a beautiful. It really is a beautiful thing. The gentleman that's at AICC, and I use that blanket. It's been cold. I pull that blanket out. And he like make me cry too.
Yeah.
But just this has been it's really been my honor. I'm leaving here on a high note. I really am. I'm most grateful that God put me in this place for this particular time. I really am. Again, wasn't what I asked for, but I'm really grateful that Dr. Wong trusted me enough to do this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I thank you for having us here again. Thank you for agreeing to do this again. I just got up and checked the camera, made sure it wasn't.
This is also for you. So,
Oh my God.
with your support, like with some of the stuff we were able to get done, so you can see that's
Yay!
our branded.
Yes, Service
sweatshirt,
Series
hoodie.
7. Yes.
Yeah, and it's got like you see in the back also, it's got all our contact info.
Oh, I
Social
love
media.
that.
Yeah. So
Oh, I love that.
we also got the T-shirt, so you know.
Oh, thank you guys. I wear my 988 baseball thing,
Yeah.
and I was in Smart and Final, and somebody said, "Is this a number?" I said, "Yes." And I told them this is a helpline and blah blah. And they're like, "Where do you work?" And I said, "I work for the Department of Mental Health." And they're like, "Does everybody wear these?" I said, "No, you had to be in Service Area 7 to wear this. You had to be in Service Area 7." And that person didn't even know what Service Area 7 was. I
Yeah.
said, "The county is built in 8 different services. We're in 1. And Service Area 7 is like Montebello, Southgate, all of that." And they were like, "Wow, yeah." I said, "But you could call this number. It doesn't matter where you
Yeah.
are."
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
But yeah, I still wear that.
Awesome.
I still wear that. Matter
So
of
we're
fact.
working to see if we can do something along those lines again, but I'm trying to.
Yeah.
If we get the green light, then we'll get all
Yeah.
the other service areas to also jump on board.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. Because that's a dope shirt. It
Mhm.
really is. And there's help. It's actual help behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really dope. Thank you
And we
guys.
actually see community members wear them. We do. My kids have actually pointed out. We're like, "Hey, Dad, I think that kid goes to your program." Oh, what kid? And there'll be a kid who has one of the jerseys that has. And I'm all like, "Hey, where did you get that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it was at some event." I was like, "You would in Southgate?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like,
Yeah.
Oh,
"Trip
that's
out
cool.
on
Oh,
that."
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
just, it's
That's
awesome
a
to see
marker.
that.
That's a marker. It really is. I mean, for people to come up and ask me, "Is this a number?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And this is a
amazing.
helpline. Yes. And
Yeah.
just talk to them about it.
It creates a conversation.
Yes.
And that's the whole point of suicide prevention, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of why we also picked like the baseball jerseys. Like when we,
Yeah.
I mean, we did this as well, but like when we initially did that, I had said, I'm like, I want them to be in the style of the Dodgers because
Yeah.
you know what, people will wear that.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
look.
Especially when we were doing for our June event, I was like, fathers, men will wear that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it'll.
genius.
And I've seen like we've had, I think it was the mayor of Southgate.
Yes.
She put on her Dodgers patch. And she's all like, "Yeah, I wear this." She's like, "When I go to the Dodger games, I rock mine." And she's all, people ask me about the 988 number. And she's all like, "I'm proud to talk to them about it."
Oh, I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get me a Dodger thing to put it on my shirt. I'm sure.
I wear my hoodie all the time. I wear my hoodie all the time. And
Yeah.
I love it. It's comfy.
And they're
I
so
have-
warm and comfy.
I have a DMH shirt, and I was at Sam's Club, and my fireman was like, "I work for the county too," and blah blah blah. And we was this whole conversation. He was like, "Thank you for the work you do." I'm like, "Thank you," But it's just we are
It's
changing.
exactly what you said. Is bringing down the walls and having
Yes.
a conversation.
Teachers have the QR code,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
in the
that's
back.
wonderful. That is
So
wonderful.
yeah, that was one of the things. Again, Jaime was able to create our QR code.
So someone might come behind you with the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
And it'll
that.
scan and take it to the base.
So at all the events, community outreach events, everybody wears those because then people, when they have questions, like just go ahead, scan my back. Yeah, takes you right into our webpage with all the resources. Yeah.
Marketing.
I like the maroon color too.
Yes.
Oh, I love this. Thank you guys. Thank you so
Well, thank you. We couldn't have done it without your
Yeah,
support,
thank
Thea.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so
guys.
much. Thank you.
Thank